Some pain doesn't scream. It doesn't demand attention. It doesn't arrive with chaos. It whispers. And the most dangerous whispers are the ones we spiritualize before we understand. You feel it in the background of your life, a heaviness you can't name, a tension that follows you into silence. Not loud enough to panic, but too persistent to ignore. You wake up and something feels off. Your body is present, but not settled. Your mind is active, but not clear. And the more you try to explain it, the further the explanation slips away. So you begin to wonder, is something wrong with me? Is this anxiety or something deeper? Is this emotional or something unseen? Let me tell you this first, slowly, clearly. Feeling off is not madness. It is not weakness, and it is not a sign that you are broken. It is a signal. Not everything unseen is supernatural, and not everything spiritual is external. Human beings have always searched for meaning when suffering has no language. When pain cannot be measured, the mind reaches for stories that can hold it. Throughout history, what we couldn't explain, we mythologized. What we couldn't treat, we spiritualized. And what we couldn't face, we pushed outside of ourselves. This doesn't mean the soul is lying. It means the soul is speaking in the only language it has left. Because when science reaches its limits, the soul doesn't go silent. It whispers. And if you're here, listening to this now, you're not possessed, you're not cursed, and you're not under attack. You're experiencing something human, ancient, and deeply misunderstood. So for the next few moments, don't label what you feel, don't fight it, and don't run toward fear for answers. Just stay. Because understanding begins not with panic, but with presence. Long before psychology had language, before trauma had definitions, before anxiety had diagnoses, human beings were still suffering. And when suffering had no explanation, it searched for one. This is not a flaw of the human mind. It is one of its oldest survival strategies. When pain feels overwhelming, the mind instinctively moves it outside the self. Because pain that feels external feels more survivable than pain that lives inside. Ancient humans did this with storms, with illness, with death. What they could not control, they personified. What they could not understand, they gave intention. This same reflex still lives inside us. When your thoughts turn against you, when your body reacts without permission, when fear arrives without cause, it doesn't feel like you, it feels foreign. And the mind says, this can't be me. Because admitting this is happening inside me feels heavier than believing something is happening to me. This is where spiritual symbolism is born, not from ignorance, but from overwhelm. Psychological fragmentation often feels like invasion. Trauma doesn't knock, it erupts. Repressed emotion doesn't ask permission, it surfaces. And when a part of you awakens that you've spent years avoiding, it doesn't arrive gently. It feels intrusive. It feels alien. It feels other. Anxiety can feel like a presence. Dissociation can feel like possession. Unprocessed grief can feel like pressure in the chest, tightness in the throat, weight in the body. And because the experience is real, the explanation feels justified. The mind searches for a story large enough to hold the intensity of the sensation. This is why unexplained symptoms feel invading, because they bypass logic, they ignore willpower, they don't respond to command, and anything that does not obey the ego is interpreted as an enemy. So the mind reaches for the oldest language it knows, external forces, hidden entities, unseen causes. Not because they are always true, but because they are available. Because when pain has no story, the mind borrows one. This does not mean spirituality is false. It means symbolism appears when integration has not yet occurred. What feels like an attack is often a signal. What feels like invasion is often fragmentation, asking to be seen. The danger is not in the experience. The danger is in misunderstanding it. Because fear does not heal the nervous system. And labeling pain as an enemy does not make it leave. It makes it louder. Now let's slow this down and speak clearly. Ruqiya does not need to be dismissed to be understood. Sacred practices have power, but not always for the reasons people believe. Sound has always been used to regulate the human system. Long before neuroscience confirmed it, the body already knew. Rhythm organizes chaos. Repetition stabilizes attention. Cadence calms the nervous system. When recitation begins, the breath naturally slows. The heart rate adjusts. The body moves from vigilance toward regulation. This is biology, not possession. Sacred language focuses attention away from looping thought and toward rhythm and meaning. Attention narrows, internal noise quiets, and what has been suppressed finally has space to surface. This is why reactions happen. Tears are not signs of invasion. They are signs of release. Fear does not mean danger. It means sensation without interpretation. Pressure in the chest, tightness in the head, heat, shaking, calm, heaviness. These are nervous system responses to focus, breath, and emotional access. Recitation activates the parasympathetic response. The body exits fight or flight, and what has been held tightly loosens. When something loosens, it moves. And movement can feel frightening to a system that has survived by control. This is where misunderstanding begins. Reaction does not equal possession. Sensitivity does not equal weakness. And awareness does not equal danger. In fact, the more sensitive a system is, the faster it responds to input. That doesn't make it fragile. It makes it perceptive. Sacred sound does not summon demons. It reveals tension. It brings to the surface what the mind has pushed down. If fear appears, it does not mean something entered you. It means something inside you was finally allowed to speak. If calm appears, it does not mean something left you. It means your system recognized safety. The problem is not the practice. The problem is interpretation. When every sensation is framed as threat, the nervous system learns fear. But when sensation is met with awareness, the body completes what it started. Ruqiya, at its core, is not an exorcism. It is a focusing ritual, a grounding rhythm, a container for attention. And when attention is held steadily, truth surfaces, not enemies. Understanding this does not weaken faith. It strengthens discernment. And discernment is the difference between healing and fear dressed as belief. There are moments when the mind disconnects just enough for the body to speak. And when it does, many people become afraid. Dissociation is one of the most misunderstood states. It is not absence, it is protection. When the nervous system experiences more intensity than it can safely process, it creates distance. You may feel detached from your thoughts, separated from your body, as if you're watching yourself from the outside. This does not mean something entered you. It means something overwhelmed you, and your system chose survival. Suppressed emotion behaves similarly. What is not felt does not disappear. It waits. And when it finally rises, it does not arrive politely. It comes with heat, with pressure, with waves of sadness, anger, fear, sometimes all at once. To a person unfamiliar with emotional release, this can feel foreign, intrusive, uncontrollable. But it is not possession. It is delayed expression. Trauma memory activation works quietly at first. A sound, a phrase, a rhythm, a tone. Something matches a past experience stored not as a memory, but as sensation. The body reacts before the mind understands. The heart races, the chest tightens, the breath shortens. Fear appears without context, and because there is no visible cause, the mind searches for a hidden one. Hypervigilance follows. The system becomes alert, scanning, interpreting every sensation as threat. Normal bodily responses are amplified. Neutral sensations become suspicious. This is how fear builds itself. Somatic release, shaking, crying, yawning, heat, heaviness, is the body completing cycles that were interrupted. But to someone taught that stillness equals safety, movement feels dangerous. So the mind intervenes, and belief enters the body. Fear loops are born this way. A sensation appears, it is interpreted as threat. Fear increases. The body reacts to fear, which confirms the belief. Round and round it goes. The body listens to what the mind believes. If you expect danger, the body prepares for it. If you expect invasion, the body tightens. Belief does not create demons, but it amplifies sensation. Expectation sharpens perception. Attention magnifies experience. This is why two people can hear the same recitation and have completely different reactions. Not because one is possessed and the other is protected, but because their internal landscapes differ. Your body is not betraying you. It is responding to the meaning you give it. And meaning is learned. This is where things become serious, because mislabeling pain does not just confuse the mind, it freezes growth. When suffering is labeled as jinn, responsibility quietly exits the room. Not responsibility as blame, but responsibility as agency. If the cause is external, the solution must be external. And the self waits. Waiting keeps you powerless. Self-understanding stops the moment pain is outsourced, because why explore inner patterns if the problem is not inside you? Why learn regulation if something else is in control? This is how spiritual language, when used without discernment, becomes a cage. Fear-based explanations feel comforting at first. They simplify complexity, they offer certainty, they remove ambiguity, but they also remove curiosity, and without curiosity, healing cannot begin. The silent harm is subtle. You stop listening to your body. You stop questioning your reactions. You stop developing awareness. Every sensation becomes suspicious. Every emotion becomes a threat. Fear turns inward and becomes identity. I am affected. I am targeted. I am vulnerable. And once fear becomes identity, the nervous system never rests. Authority is handed away to interpretations you did not examine, and the self shrinks. Not every shadow is an enemy. Some are messages you avoided long enough to turn dark. Pain labeled too quickly never gets understood, and pain that isn't understood repeats itself. Inner alchemy is not about denial, it is about precision. It does not ask you to reject faith, it asks you to refine perception, because true strength is not found in fighting unseen enemies. It is found in reclaiming inner authority. And authority begins when fear is replaced with understanding. There is a reason nothing you fought ever truly left, because what you resist tightens. Inner alchemy begins when the war ends, not by denying belief, but by changing relationship. Awareness dissolves fragmentation, because fragmentation survives in darkness. The moment something is seen clearly, it loses its power to hide. What feels like invasion is often disconnection. What feels like chaos is often unrecognized parts speaking at once. You don't remove them by force. You allow them into coherence. Breath is the first tool, not as technique, but as signal. Slow breath tells the nervous system there is no emergency. And when the body believes safety, it stops creating enemies. Perception shifts. Sensations that once felt threatening become information. Emotion becomes movement. Fear becomes energy without a story. Stillness does not suppress, it integrates. When you sit, without running, without labeling, without rehearsing catastrophe, the split parts of you begin to reorganize. Presence is not passive, it is stabilizing. Nothing imagined can survive sustained awareness. The mind creates invasion when attention is scattered. Presence gathers attention back into one place. This is the true exorcism. Not shouting, not commanding, not forcing something out, but listening until it no longer needs to scream, witnessing until it no longer needs to appear as threat. What you face calmly cannot control you. This is not theory. A panic response observed without judgment burns itself out. A traumatic sensation met with breath completes its cycle. A fearful thought seen as a thought loses authority. Inner alchemy is simple, not easy, but simple. You don't fight what's inside. You listen until it softens. You don't dominate the body, you understand it. And understanding restores order. Because the body is not an enemy, it is an archive. And when the archive is opened safely, nothing needs to invade again. Faith was never meant to destabilize the soul, it was meant to anchor it. When belief becomes fear, something has gone wrong. True faith grounds the nervous system, it creates trust, not hypervigilance. Prayer at its essence is not repetition driven by panic. It is alignment. It centers attention. It slows the heart. It returns the mind to something larger than fear. Obsession, masquerading as devotion, does the opposite. It tightens. It scans for danger. It turns God into a threat monitor. This is not reverence. It is anxiety dressed as faith. God was never meant to amplify panic. God is refuge, not reinforcement of fear. Tawakkul is surrender with clarity. Paranoia is surrender without trust. One stabilizes, the other fractures. When faith is healthy, it reduces the need for control. When faith is distorted, it increases it. A grounded believer does not search constantly for signs of attack. They rest. They trust that what unfolds is held, not hostile. They use prayer to settle the heart, not to chase away imagined threats. True faith strengthens the self. It does not erase it. It invites responsibility, not dependency. And when faith and awareness align, healing accelerates, because fear dissolves in the presence of trust. True faith stabilizes the soul. Fear-based faith fractures it. And stability, not struggle, is where clarity lives. It is where clarity. Now, we will not test for danger. We will test for truth. Sit where you are. No correction, no preparation. Let the body be exactly as it is, and for a moment, do nothing. Feel what is present without naming it. Not fear, not pressure, not heaviness. Just sensation. Notice the temperature of your breath, the weight of your body, the quiet movement inside you. If something tightens, don't push it away. If something moves, don't follow it. Simply observe. No story, no interpretation, no meaning, just awareness. Stay here. You may notice that what once felt overwhelming begins to change when it is not resisted. Fear needs narration to survive. Without story, it weakens. Observe carefully. Does the sensation stay the same when watched calmly? Or does it soften, shift, fade? This is important, because invasion does not dissolve under observation, but internal tension does. If awareness calms it, it was never an invader. It was a signal. And signals don't need to be fought. They need to be understood. Stay still a moment longer. Let the body finish what it has been holding. Lower the music. Slow the voice. You are not broken. You are not possessed. You are not weak. You are overwhelmed and unheard. Your body did not betray you. Your mind did not turn against you. They were trying to protect you with the only language they had left. Fear made it louder. Understanding makes it quiet. You were never under attack. You were asking to be understood. Nothing entered you. Nothing took control. Nothing needs to be expelled. What needed attention has finally been seen. And what is seen clearly no longer needs to frighten you. Sit with this. Don't rush to label your pain. And if this brought clarity, share it quietly with someone who's afraid. Like the video if it helped you settle. Comment only if you feel grounded enough to speak. Subscribe if you want more calm, depth, and clarity. This is Inner Alchemy, and you are not alone.